Hello, it's Beverly with the Intuitive Interior again. Time for your monthly I Ching reading. Goodness gracious, I cannot believe that it's already the end of 2022. Now, the fun thing is, this is actually not the end of the Chinese calendar, the zodiac calendar. It is just there's still one more month. It doesn't actually go into the next year's energy until the end of January, first part of February. February 4th is specifically when the feng shui year changes energy. But anyway, I digress. I get it. I like all this stuff. This month for December starts the month of the Yang water rat energy. And that goes from December 7th through January the 4th. The energy of this Yang water rat, of course, is going to be very much different than the energy that we were just finishing up, which was the yin metal pig energy. Why this makes any difference to y'all is just so that you kind of get an idea of the flavor of December. The first card that I pulled for this month, it's an old familiar one, and I really get tired of seeing it. But the reason why I think it's also very important is that it kind of encompasses that the one piece of the rat flavor of this energy. Again, Yang water is all about rushing waters, big emotion. It's like a fire hose of energy coming at you, but without having the boundaries and without having direction to focus this. Can kind of flush away a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be washed away. And rat energy in general is like a yin water element. And so it can be kind of sneaky. Yeah, rat energy is again, watery, a lot of emotion, bunch of stuff getting stirred up with both the yin and the yang version of the water. But again, the rat energy is actually very auspicious in Chinese culture. It's think about how rats multiply. So it's even more prosperous than what you would get, think about with rabbits. We always talk about in Western culture, rabbits having a lot of babies. The rat energy, though, is very shrewd. It likes it when it knows what it wants to, go for. It isn't afraid to go get down and dirty and go through the cracks to get to where it wants. And when you have that yang water element behind it, it can even accelerate that process. So the month of December is going to be one where, if we have clear goals, we can really be pushed along to reach them even faster than usual. But if you don't have clear goals, you may just find yourself kind of stuck chasing your tail, which again, coming back to the I Ching cards, the number 64, this is before completion. It comes up almost every time when there's some kind of illness thing, some kind of just something that's making us pause and pull ourselves back in. This has the trigram of Kan, which is water underneath, and then fire, Li, on top. So you've got this water kind of bubbling up that is trying to, kind of getting dissipated by the fire, so that it feels like, oh, well, wait, we're not quite done yet. Again, the words on this are: before completion is uncertainty, doubt and hesitation, loss of faith, unstable conditions, be extra cautious, and discord. So, again, you think about that, it's not exactly what you want going into the holiday season. But remember, we still have elections that in the US that we're still dealing with. We still have an economy that around the world that is trying to find its footing. We have still countries that are in war, and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, before completion, we are not through all of this yet. Now, the focus line on this particular one is number 4. It says, the more fundamental the differences are that you must overcome, the more important it is to be true to yourself. Make sure you take plenty of space to withdraw when you need it in order to align yourself and your motivations to the highest ideals. Your strongest ally in the present circumstances is your inner truth. The inner, the challenge with, something like that, when you're talking about that inner truth, is knowing where is that inner truth coming from? How is it being influenced? Is it being influenced by reputable influences? It is again needing that space. You need to be able to look at where are you really, who are you throwing your lot in with? So this says that it says your situation feels tenuous, and an unnerving sense of uncertainty has crept into what previously seemed like a clear go-ahead. To make matters worse, you may feel utterly spent and exhausted, as if you are running on empty. But it's imperative that you continue now in spite of weariness and doubt. Stay focused on the needs of the moment and distance yourself from any thoughts or people that threaten your inner stability by undermining that might undermine your tenacity. There could be frustrating setbacks. Questioning the nature of frustrating setbacks that send you back to square one, and the disappointment at the unfair twists of fate can serve a positive purpose by increasing your awareness of the changeable nature of life. It can sharpen your insight into the bigger picture, making you more grounded and realistic. The grounding is so important. Again, looking at the picture on here, yeah, walking on thin ice. It's cracking around him, but he sees the shore. He knows where his destination. He's not turning. You're not turning back around to try to go back the other way, because that's not really going to work either. Okay, so interestingly enough, the next card, which I think is something that everybody's excited to see, and that is the prosperity card. This is card number 14. You've got the underneath here, this is the Qian trigram. So it is yang metal. On top of that is, again, the fire gua, the Li gua, Li trigram. So you've got this heavy, hard metal underneath with the fire on top that's warming it up. So think about, a fire pit. It's like, woo, look at that. We've got all this fun. We've got this excitement, this energy that's building up. The words here are wealth, good fortune, success. Express gratitude by supporting others and material possessions. Hello, holiday time. What are most people talking about right now is, how are we, what kind of presents are we buying for other people? How are we able, the charities that we're supporting, what is a way that we can express gratitude for those around us, those who have helped us achieve the goals that we've gotten. Again, this line number here is the number 6 line. It says, on top of the world is where you're sitting. And as long as you remember to keep everything in perspective, to be grateful for your undeserved good fortune, and to know that the work will also be there to tackle in the morning, you'll be able to enjoy the view for quite some time to come. There are going to be times, every time, not just this month, but especially this next month, where we will feel as if everything is coming our way. It's just everything coming up for us. And being able to appreciate those times is so important. And also understand that sometimes those times don't last either. And that's okay, because again, thinking about what feng shui means, wind and water, Everything has to keep moving. You never step into the same river twice because it's constantly moving. But when you're there and you are enjoying it and it's, all the good stuff is coming your way, drink it in. Because it says here that good fortune for one can increase well-being for many others when it is shared and not hoarded and used creatively. Prosperity has a radiance that is attractive in a variety of ways and can create positive or negative effects on a grand scale. Its influence can be nourishing, supportive, and intelligent, or on the other hand, self-absorbed and self-indulgent and small-minded. It can be wealth can be a support for meeting our highest aspirations or our deepest greed. Again, finding that balance so that you can enjoy the windfall. Again, maybe Santa Claus is going to be really, really good for you this year. I don't know, but making sure that you're also showing the gratitude and sharing the gratitude. So the last card is number 39. It's obstacles. Because, why not? Why not have obstacles? We have the gun trigram, which is a yang earth trigram, with kan trigram. It's the water trigram. As you can see, when you have that yang earth on the bottom that is unmovable, it's like a mountain underneath, and then you have all this water sloshing on top. Again, when you have that type of connection, well, look at the Grand Canyon. That water found where the obstacles could be moved, and it moved it. So you can see here, if you look carefully, there's this one little boat just trying desperately to stay going on all those waves. This says unexpected obstructions, frustration, difficulties, feelings of hopelessness, struggle, and discouragement. It is there will always be obstacles that come our way. Sometimes those obstacles really do feel absolutely insurmountable. But it says here, once you succumb to panic, then helplessness and confusion are sure to follow with a stranglehold on clear thinking that promptly sends all your efforts to keep it together straight down the drain. Struggling against what is happening will just compound your frustration as all your strategies seem to lead nowhere, or worse, increase your difficulties. The biggest challenge whenever you are finding yourself in one of these types of situations where there's a big obstacle is to not succumb to the victim mentality. Too many times, and especially my early studies around energy, there was this tendency to say, it's like, oh, what did I do? How did I bring this to me? How did I manifest these issues? What am I vibrating that is bringing this to me? Well, largely nothing. Sometimes it is simply that you are recognizing the negative more than recognizing how it can, where the down the road blessings may come. It doesn't mean you can't really say, like, God, this really sucks. This is awful. I can't, I didn't want any of this. And being in that emotion, accepting the fact that you're going to be in this storm for a while, but just keep bailing out the boat. Just understand that, okay, we the same thing like with the very first one, where we've got the before completion. There's obstacles. There's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be redirection, but there's also going to be good stuff that comes out. There's the prosperity that's in there too. I'd be very upset. I would be kind of, bummed if I, the cards that I drew didn't have something positive about it, because, those are not my favorite two cards. I'm not going to lie. it is, okay, but here's this other, before I read the focus line, it says here, the big picture is dispassionate. It is never fixed. It is an ongoing balancing dynamic that works to reduce excess and fill emptiness. So tuning into that bigger picture is essential now. Choose to keep your energy moving, even though just at this moment, it might not make sense to you, rather than to roll over belly up in defeat. So this is focus line 2. And again, it says navigating your way through the darkness requires heightened alertness and sensitivity that makes it possible to see through all the senses. The fear that is caused by uncertainty, however, can interfere with the very sharpness of the senses. So I knocked my computer off. With the very sharpness of the senses that is needed. If your goal is larger than merely serving your own individual interests, you can proceed even in the darkest night without fear. You will be supported in many visible and invisible ways. Remember how I mentioned that this is the month of the rat? That really talks, I mean, that really feeds into how rats live. They have such sensitive noses. They have great hearing. They're following their senses. Even though it doesn't necessarily make sense, they can find their way through the dark to get to where they know the good stuff is. Anyway, that's what we have to look forward to starting next week on the 7th. Keep in mind that on December 29th is also the beginning of Mercury retrograde. Now, again, don't freak out. Mercury is a planet of communication. It's the planet of travel. It's the planet of electronics, whatever. It is also the opportunity to look at what has been being communicated. How can it be improved? What is coming up is not anything to be too scared about. It is simply an opportunity to take a look at where can I refine my communication? How can I best express gratitude? How am I able to travel in the lightest way possible? Anyway, I hope this helps somewhat as we are entering into the season of a lot of assessments, a lot of Decembering. Let's face it, December always has that kind of dark feeling because it's the darkest. It's getting pretty dark here. The winter solstice is coming up on the 21st. I hope that everyone can take advantage of that opportunity to celebrate the equality of the day and the night, the ultimate yin and yang expression. Look at how are you coming out the other side with gratitude for both the night and the day. Many blessings, and I'll talk to you next year.